Welcome, everybody, to a very special episode of the Teardrop Pod, minus the tier list, because it's just that important of a week. My name is Chris, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Andrew. Andrew, how you doing today?
I'm doing magnificent. I've been riding the high of what we saw yesterday for literally the entire day since I woke up this morning. Whenever I got to work, anyone who would listen to me talk about it, whether they wanted to or not.
And living the dream, this Nintendo dream.
Yeah.
It's Nintendo's world. We're all just living in it. Yes, as you all probably know, we are bringing this extra special episode to you today to go over all of the big news that dropped yesterday. Unveiling the Switch 2, we have a release date, we have a price point for games and for the console. We have, I guess, the launch lineup. I don't think they would have held anything back out, considering it's pretty much right around the corner. So we've got a lot to go through. But before we dive into that, I am here to remind you that this is the Teardrop Pod. It's myself and Andrew coming together once, and this week twice a week, to go over whatever we've been watching, playing, listening to, reading, whatever we're passionate about, and going through it, usually bringing our own topics as well as a joint topic, and rounding an episode out with a tier list. This week is special. You already got a mega tier list episode where we went through the biggest games of the Switch 1 as we bid it a fond farewell. No hot takes there whatsoever, but you should go listen to it anyway. And yeah, this week we are diving into the Switch 2. But we do ask, as always, please subscribe to us on Spotify and YouTube and Apple Podcasts, and give us 5 stars on those podcast apps where you can. Give us lots of likes and comments on the YouTube channel on each episode. Let us know your thoughts. Do you like our tier list? Do you disagree with my incredibly tame and not at all hot takes? Do you agree with Andrew's
Such a bad
pretty
take.
spicy Marvel opinions from a couple of weeks ago? There's lots to discuss, and we'd love to have you join the conversation. So with all that out of the way, we have a lot of news to get through. Andrew, do you want to get the ball rolling for us?
Yeah, dude, let's do it. Switch 2 Direct yesterday. Kind of starting with the console itself. We got a release date, June 5th.
June 5th.
Which is, I mean,
oh my gosh, we should have pulled
it's just over 2 months away.
Should have pulled up the predictions, because I don't remember mine off the top of my head.
Oh yeah, we should have.
I do know that my prediction was the fall, so I don't think any of my predictions were correct, for what it's worth. So maybe we shouldn't pull them
I don't
up.
think any of mine were either.
To be clear, if I really wanted to be competitive in a prediction episode, I wouldn't have said Kingdom Hearts Missing Link was going to be there. Okay, I was trying to have fun.
I wouldn't have said F-Zero cross Star Fox game.
Hey, look,
I'm dreaming big over here. Okay, all right. With Nintendo, anything is possible.
F-Zero did show up in this direct, so
we did get some F-Zero love. Oh my god, dude, I can't believe they did this shit.
We will get to everything, but yeah, so we have a release date, June 5th, right at 2 months away. We have a price. The price is $450 or $500 if you want a bundled digital copy of Mario Kart World Tour,
and no OLED. Mario Kart World, no OLED in sight.
Not a single OLED to be seen.
That might be the most disappointed that I've been with this entire show. Was that?
I think we did talk about this on the prediction podcast. I'm not surprised. I was not expecting an OLED, because this is already $50 more than I expected it to be, and we'll get into the pricing, but that's not really where the damage ends, unfortunately, because the price of all of the accessories, but especially the software, are a lot more expensive than I expected as well. So it's really going to add up if you want to fully invest in this ecosystem, unfortunately. And so I am not shocked that there's not an OLED model, because I've been on the internet a good bit in the last 24 hours, and I feel like normally the internet really wants to back up Nintendo, big Nintendo fans out there, but they have turned on them in the last 24 hours. The people are angry about these prices, and I think there's definitely an argument to be made. So I understand, but I think it would be even worse if there was an OLED model that was, say, $100 more. So
yeah, if it was like 600, came with like Mario Kart or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, probably, yeah.
I mean,
It would still be a day one buy for me.
yeah.
As much as I hate to say that I would spend $600 on a Switch of all things, as much as I love Nintendo, you know, as long as the games run okay, then I'm not like too upset about it.
Let's go ahead and
I mean, it's a
let's go ahead and dive into these prices, because that is definitely one of the biggest negative factors of this entire thing. First of all,
yeah.
they didn't put any prices out in the direct itself. They like drip fed it afterwards as the day went on through different posts and other videos, which I think is really lame. I think that they knew people were going to be mad and they didn't want to rain on their own parade in that exact moment.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Which I understand, but like it does, I don't.
It rubs me the wrong way a little bit, because the whole time that me and Kayla were watching it, you know, whenever they drop the release date, I'm like, okay, how much is it? And then they drop the release date again at the end. They're like, don't forget, guys, June 5th. You know, come get your Switch Mario Kart bundle, June 5th. All right, bye, guys. Where's the price? Why are you hiding this from me?
I can't say it's disingenuous in the sense that like it's not like they didn't tell you before you could pre-order it. Like you still have time to decide if that's worth it to you before you put any money down. But I've left that direct feeling really, 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 really excited. And then the more the day went on and the more I thought about some aspects of it and more information came out about the pricing on certain things, the more down I kind of got. Like I can feel myself sagging and coming back to reality. So yeah, we kind of touched on it. Nintendo Switch 2 just by itself, $449.99. The Mario Kart bundle that comes with it, $499.99. Mario Kart World by itself, $79.99. $80
insane
for a Mario Kart is
insane.
Just kind of a tough pill to swallow. And what does feel disingenuous to me is for them to bundle Mario Kart World for $50 extra. And then I feel like get you in the door, make you think you're saving a lot of money by saying, oh, well, I'm saving $30 on this. What a steal.
Yep.
But it's just kind of pretend like you're getting a one-time slight discount. But it seems like that is going to be the main pricing going forward. Now, there have been some information is still coming out. The only other one that I see on their official website that they've listed pricing wise for software is Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is the new Donkey Kong 3D action platformer we saw, and that is $70. So, but there have been pictures of listings that I can't find now, but I'm pretty sure were legitimate, that were showing like the Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, $80.
Yeah, I think Breath of the Wild was either 60 or 70, and then Tears was 80. Kirby and the Forgotten Land was 80.
Yeah, that kind of.
I think it just kind of goes on like a game by game basis. I guess they just kind of decide, that one's probably worth that much. I don't know what they're thinking, man.
Yeah,
like I don't know if because they just know that Mario Kart is going to sell so much that like we can slap an extra $10 on here and people will pay for it no matter what. Because I mean,
it's not just
pretty much what will happen.
That if it looks like that's what the Zeldas are also going to be priced at, even when they are last gen, just with next gen upgrades, like that seems like that their main games are going to be $80, and then you might see something like a Donkey Kong that I guess will be shorter. That's like $10 less, but I mean that $10 less is what the norm is. I mean, comparatively, we not that long ago saw the price of games rise from $60 to $70, and now for it to go so soon from 70 to 80, which I think this does open the door for everyone to feel justified in raising that price. I mean, this is bad for the whole video game industry, because other people will follow suit almost certainly. And I'm just really bummed about that because Nintendo, and we'll get into this with some of the other decisions I feel like they made. It feels like they know how successful the Switch was, and they're really kind of pushing their luck because they feel like they're in a place where they can. And I also think we live in a world where you have to consider the economics of things. Everything is getting more expensive. Tariffs are a serious issue right now that are impacting prices. And I know it's not just hubris, but it does kind of feel like they know that people will buy it. And that just kind of feels gross to me.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because specifically when I look at something like Mario Kart, it looks great. I don't know if it looks $80 great, man. I don't know. If you can't get the bundle, are you, in your mind, from what you've seen about Mario Kart, do you think that is worth $80?
I am a Nintendo shill. I would buy this game for, I mean, almost any amount of money, just because, like, I want, not any amount. Sorry, that's ridiculous, of course. But I mean, would I be happy about, spending $100 on this game? No. Would I do it? Yeah. Like, I probably wouldn't even think twice about it.
Or just the standard edition. Because here's the thing, like, the argument I feel like that people have made for a long time about video games getting more expensive was that, like, you could sometimes make wider margins, I guess, by doing these deluxe versions of things we've seen for a long time, where it's like, okay, standard price is $60. If you want it with early access and these special skins, then you can upgrade to $80 or whatever. And then if you want sometimes like a physical edition with like a steelbook case or something and like a map or whatever, then you could upgrade. Like, there are other ways that they could upcharge you for the people that were really passionate about it. And I always liked that approach because it gave me the option to decide how much I wanted to opt in. I don't know, man.
It seems like a weird thing. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I really don't see every, like, Switch exclusive, or at least, like, big new Switch 2 game being $80. Because we kind of saw this on the last Switch with Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom, I'm pretty sure, is the only, like, Nintendo published, Nintendo developed game that was $70. Everything else was $60. Mm-hmm. So I really in my heart of hearts, I want to believe that this is kind of a pick and choose. Like, some games are going to be 80, most games are going to be 70. Like, the big ones. I think that the Mario Karts, I think like Zelda might be 80. I think maybe a 3D Mario might be 80. But I don't think that, like, the next freaking, Yoshi's Woolly World game is going to be $80.
I mean, yeah, I think the fact that Donkey Kong is 70 means that they won't all be 80 for sure. But I do think the majority of them will be. And like I said, I feel like it's more a problem of opening the door. There were a lot of people talking about, the big game this year that's supposed to be coming out is Grand Theft Auto 6. And there were rumors that game might try to be sold at $100 because, again, people thought that it would sell at it because GTA 5 is the best-selling game of all time or whatever. And one of them, I think. I always get it. I think it is the best-selling game. But it's
Minecraft, and then I think it's GTA.
Yeah, it's like those two are, and Tetris. Like, those three are all in the, like,
Tetris.
The top, Minecraft. Anyway, yeah, it's really well. It did real well for itself. So people were saying, analysts were arguing that they were worried that they were going to charge $100 for that because they knew they could, and then that would leave the door open for other companies to charge excessive amounts. And I don't know, man. I worry because I am the type of person who likes to play a lot of games, and I don't want this hobby to become prohibitively expensive. And I talk to a lot of people who I feel like really like games, but don't play as much as me. And I have had so many conversations with people where I'm like, you guys should really check this game out. And they're like, oh yeah, it looks cool. How much is it? I'm like, oh, it's $60. And they're like, nah, dude, I'm good. And that just kind of hurts everyone because then you are only, there are going to be fewer games that are going to be made because fewer games are going to be able to be successful, which is already a problem. But then, if I understand that if people buy it at a higher rate, then maybe they're making more off of it. So the successful games are going to be even more successful. But I feel like that is going to make it even harder for games that don't have as much of a built-in audience to find their audience. I think back last year to Astrobot and how much I had to beg and plead people to play this game because they were like, "Oh, I think that one was 60. It was either 50 or 60.
Yeah, I think it was 60. Yeah.
It wasn't the full normal 70. So it was still discounted. And people were still like, I don't know, dude, it's only like 10 hours, right? And I'm like, but it's 10 hours of perfection, dude. And yeah, I'm totally against the whole equating the amount of time you spend something to a value. I think that's a totally broken way to look at art. And again, comparing it to like, okay, well, you spend $20 for a movie ticket when you go to see a 2-hour movie. Are you mad about that? I mean, if you multiply it by that percentage, anyway. I think that's just a really not healthy way to look at it. But I don't know. This was really concerning to me. This price point.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a little concerning because, like you said, it does open the door like for other devs to be like, oh, maybe I can get away with this, and does that hurt consumers down the line? Yeah, for sure. I mean,
well, the thing about
it's a scary world to think about. Even within the next year, like, I mean, maybe every game will be $80. It's like, which I don't know. I really just don't know. I think we kind of just have to wait and see how Nintendo handles like the next few games coming out. And I know that this is kind of like, I mean, this is like the big one, like of the whole show. I feel like this is the big game that was shown. So I don't know, man. It's just a really weird thing. It's really, really weird. I don't know how to feel about it. I'm not like necessarily happy about it, but it's,
I think one of the things that, with it being Nintendo first specifically, that worries me is just the fact that they are notorious for not putting their games on sale, right? And so at least if you were to go, say the next Sony game comes out at, the next God of War comes out at $80 and people don't want to jump in, like you can wait a year and it could end up on a subscription service, PS Plus or something like that, or it could be discounted for at least half off of that. There are still entry points for folks that are more sustainable, but like Nintendo doesn't do that. They're notorious for the fact that you could go right now and look at Breath of the Wild and it's still going to be $60.
Yeah, a $60 game is $60 forever. Yeah. They have gotten a little bit better about that this console cycle, or this past console cycle. Like all of the games that kind of launched within the first couple of years of Switch, they do go on sale occasionally. Granted, it's only they're $40 instead of $60. It's not like some significant discount. It's not like going on the PlayStation Store and finding For Honor for like $3. Like, but. And that actually is something that I didn't think about. Maybe this gives them the wiggle room to be able to put stuff on sale so that more people, those people that can't pass up a sale and go, ooh, Mario Kart World for $70. That's a steal.
I don't know, man. I just don't. They have gotten better. I agree with you. They have gotten better with this generation with like once a year you'll get the Mario Day sales or something like that. Or sometimes a Target or a Best Buy will have their own sale. I still don't feel like you see it that often on the actual Nintendo store or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
So I just, I don't want to get too bogged down in this, but in some ways get some of the more negative stuff out of the way off the bat, because we still have a lot to talk about. But like, I saw this message, or this you don't call them tweets because it was on Blue Sky, but a tweet on Blue Sky. And it just kind of put it into perspective for me, which I understand everyone is going to put a different value on these things, right? But for $450, you can get a disc drive PS5 with Astrobot.
Dang.
Or you could get a Switch 2. And obviously those are two very different, some people really value the portability of what the Switch can do. Obviously that's like a docked and a handheld machine. But when you look at the pure specs of like what they're capable of, I mean, that's kind of crazy to put it into perspective for me,
Yeah.
But And then I was looking up the prices of the Steam Deck, and like right now, you can get the cheapest, the LCD model of the Steam Deck, 256 gigabytes, which I believe is the same internal memory of the Switch 2,
Yeah.
for $400. Now, granted, the Switch 2 has up to 120 hertz, and the base Steam Deck only has up to 60 hertz. I don't know all of the internal specs compare. I was trying to compare some of those earlier to get that up, so maybe the Switch 2 is actually more powerful than at least the base Steam Deck, but
Yeah,
but
I mean,
then you're
maybe. And
competing with
the
like
other
the
thing,
the fact that you have your Steam library that you could have on a PC or
Right.
anywhere. But the Steam Deck also doesn't come with a dock inherently. I mean, you can buy it for it separately, but there's not a one-to-one comparison. It's just like I've been thinking a lot more about this price, and like we predicted it was going to be $400. $50 more isn't that shocking. It shouldn't be that shocking.
It's not. But anywhere between 400 and 500, I was like, I'm fine. Like, I don't care either way.
It's just, I guess. Then I think I had just forgotten that the Switch was cheaper. Like, I think the Switch 1 launched at 300, didn't it?
At 300.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, obviously times change, but it's just kind of, I don't know. There's just something about it. And I think ultimately what it really is just looking at the cost as they add up. The $80 price tag for the games is really what I think is making it stick out more in my head.
And then you talk about the accessories. I mean, dude, on June 5th, like, they're about to suck me dry. I'm about to lose everything that day.
It's a major investment. And the thing for me is, like, I have everything. I have an Xbox Series X. I have a PS5. I have the Steam Deck. I have a PlayStation Portal. I have a PC. Like, I'm the person who has everything, right? But I don't know. The economy is in a place right now where that's just a tougher pill to swallow. And I think it's really just comes down to bad timing too. If this had been a year ago, I don't know if this would feel as bad. I mean, the raised price in software definitely still would, but like, I don't know. Well, I think everyone's a little bit more cognizant of finances right now, which is outside of Nintendo's control. I get it, but
especially because I'm pretty sure over in Japan they're saying that it's
significantly cheaper. It's like
350. It's the equivalent of $350 US
if you convert the yen, which again they don't have to worry about tariffs in their own country, obviously.
Exactly.
And it's something that like they're region locking it, which they hadn't been doing. Like, you can't just buy, and the yen is what I was trying to say is the yen is really weak right now, and so they could also, I think they're trying to combat the fact that someone could just go buy the Japanese version for significantly less, and then they lose out that money because you can only get that version if you have a Japanese account and speak Japanese. So
pretty much.
It is a difficult climate right now, but we'll get into it as we keep going. I'm sorry I spent so much time on this already. But like, I think it's like, it is a little more expensive than I thought it would be, even just for the base console. The price of software is really painful to me and worries me in the grander scheme of things too. And I think the other big thing for me that we'll get to is the way they're handling upgrades for certain things as well. The fact that some of these upgrades are paid and also seem like they're going to be at varying amounts is a little gross.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time though, it's like whenever we get like a PS5 upgrade, most of the time it's $10. I'm pretty sure that all of these are $10. I don't think it's been confirmed whether or not these are $10.
Some of them
for Switch to Switch 2.
Some of them are 20.
Some of them are 20. Like, I saw that some of them are free if you have NSO. I'm pretty sure.
The two Zelda
I think it was
ones,
Tears.
Yes, if you have
I think Tears and Breath.
The expansion pack plus Tears and Breath are free. But the Kirby
which means that could happen for more down the line.
I think is 20. I mean, again, some of this is stuff that was coming through on social media that people like screen grabbed, and then I think they took down or whatever because I haven't been able to refine it. But it was obviously official stuff. It's not like people that just like photoshopped it or whatever. So they haven't put all of that out there yet, and they've even said that like varying features and varying prices. It's just not a good way to handle that, in my opinion. Like, you've already put the price out for so much.
It's just not
stuff.
very streamlined.
Yeah. Something like the Mario Party Jamboree one, but it's so funny you brought up the PlayStation example, because I was going to bring that up too. Where like everyone got so mad that it was a $10 upgrade for The Last of Us Part 2. And as I talked about it, I think on this podcast, I know we at least said we were going to.
Yeah.
I thought that upgrade for $10 was fantastic. Like, you got a whole new game mode with the roguelike mode. You got enhanced visuals. You got director commentary. You got PlayStation 5 haptic feedback. You got there's something else in it too. I think the lost levels. Yeah. And that was all like just a flat $10. And they said they were going to do that with Days Gone as well. And they said they was the Ghost of Tsushima also $10? The upgraded PS5. The Ichi Island one? I think
so. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know.
Because if that was as well, I mean,
was Horizon one? Or was Horizon you just had to buy that?
I can't remember.
I truly don't. Yeah. I don't remember.
But it did seem like $10 was kind of the standard for them, and I felt like you were still getting a lot, and people were still really mad about that. And I don't know, the fact that the Kirby one specifically, I saw was $20 is.
But it does seem like they're at least the ones that are $20, like it seems like they're adding like significant like content to it. Like the Kirby thing, it seemed like there was like a whole new game mode, like kind of deal. I don't know if that's new levels, if that's just like changing around like how the levels work. With Mario Party, there's the Mario Party TV, like, you know, all the crazy like Bowser show stuff with the camera. Like
the Mario Party one does look substantial, and that's one that I haven't seen a price for at all. The Kirby one. It says Kirby in the Forgotten Land, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Starcross World, a new story, and visually enhanced with improved frame rate. You know, if that's something a la Bowser's Fury, you know, and it's, you know, maybe it is worth 20. We don't know yet because we don't know exactly.
And that's the whole
entails.
thing is I feel like we kind of have to wait and see like how substantial it really is before being like, ooh, this sucks. I mean, just seeing a Switch 1 game, you know, going for like a Switch 2 edition game, however they're labeling this, go for 80. It does feel kind of bad for sure. Like just looking at it, this game came out 3 years ago and it's $80. Like it feels bad looking at it for sure. But if you have the game already and it's only a $20 upgrade, it feels a little bit better in my head.
I think it's just because
even though it ends up being the same price.
I think for me it's just because I looked at the blowback that PlayStation got for a lot of their $10 upgrades, and $10 was exactly the sweet point for me. I think $20 in my mind for some of that stuff, like the Last of Us 2 one specifically, would have been worth it. But like $10 felt like it was actually a good deal. And $20 again in my mind, it's totally just a matter of perspective. But $20 in my mind is like, that's a bigger ask, you know. $10 is like less than a meal. $20 is like, okay, well, that's the full price of like some other indie games, you know. It's just a matter of how you look at those sort of values. But since we're talking about Switch 2 edition games, so this is another thing that was a little confusing to me, and I want to hear your thoughts on it as well. Some games are getting full new Switch 2 editions, which are like, you can buy the game straight up just for the Switch 2. You don't have to have like the Switch 1 version. Those Switch 1 games are compatible with Switch 2, except for Labo. I think it's like the only one that they said won't run.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
you can also, you know, if you already have the Switch 1 version, pay to get these upgraded versions of them. Some of which, like Pokemon ZA coming later this year, which again, you'd probably just buy the Switch 2 version anyway, right?
Right.
But like that one, it says is just improved performance with higher frame rate and resolution. And then you get something like Super Mario Party Jamboree, which comes with, you know, then they give it a whole new title plus Jamboree TV, and it says new ways to play exclusive to Nintendo Switch to Jamboree TV, new modes that use mouse controls, microphone, and a compatible USB-C camera. Players appear within the game via camera play using a compatible camera, game share compatibility for local multiplayer. WQ HD? What is WQ HD? Anyway, resolution and TV mode, visually enhanced with improved frame rate. So like you get all that stuff plus.
Yeah.
It's just not the same. And then there are some games that are getting free updates, but they aren't specifying what those updates are. It says by connecting your Switch
It seems
to the
like most
internet,
of them are just visual.
yeah,
Sorry.
you may you can download free updates that may improve performance or add support for features such as game share and select games. The contents of these free updates will differ depending on the game. So that's cool, but it's just like, I wish you would just tell me. And I know we're 2 months away, so maybe they will share all this with us as time gets moves on and we get closer to the release date. But it's like, that's another weird thing to me. It's like some of these are free, which is awesome. Two of the ones that we talked about in the last episode, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, are in the free upgrade one, which you have to assume just means they're going to run better, hopefully.
Yeah,
Which
I mean,
would be
hopefully. I mean,
huge for those games.
yeah.
But there are games like Legends Arceus that isn't on this list, so I guess it's not getting anything. So that's kind of weird because that's a pretty big one. That
And
also
maybe they
really
maybe
could
they
happen.
do them like down the line too. Maybe it's down the road they add some, like some NSO thing. Like, oh yeah, by the way, a year later we're getting Pokemon Legends Arceus Switch 2 edition.
Yeah.
Upgraded, graphics and frame rates, whatever. I could see them doing something like that. I don't think that they'll have all of them just like up res and ready like right out the gate. But
yeah, two other big ones that are getting free updates are Link's Awakening and Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Those are two other ones that.
I didn't see the Link's Awakening one.
Yep.
Oh, that's exciting.
Those are both games that, again, assumedly will get performance updates and upgrades, which is huge for those games.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's cool that those are getting free updates, but I don't know, like, why do those get free upgrades, but then if you don't have Nintendo Switch Online, have to pay for the Zelda ones, which I guess the Zelda ones, they would argue because you're also getting the Zelda Notes game specific service via Nintendo Switch app, which, oh my God, man. I saw someone say, dude, the Grimoire, I think that's what they were called. The Grimoire cards from Destiny are back. Back when that game first launched, and you would pick something up in game, and instead of actually just telling you like the data log you got, you had to pull up a website to read lore. It's like, what are we
actually
doing here? Yeah. And this is basically the same thing where it's like, all right, pull up the Nintendo app, and then you can hear Zelda give you some extra tidbits or whatever. It's just, so I guess that is an extra feature. I guess the difference is if it's something that is literally just performance, and it was a Switch 1 game, then that will be like a free upgrade. But if they're doing anything else at all, like adding the app integration for Breath of the Wild, then that is something that you would have to pay for, unless, like we said, you have NSO online.
Yeah.
I guess that's the difference, but they don't say that. Like, this is stuff that we're kind of conjecturing as we go, I feel like.
Yeah. Because I essentially view like the Kirby and the Mario Party ones as they're just DLC at that point. Like,
yeah,
that's kind of how I view it. They're $20 DLCs.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, I'm truthfully not too mad about it. I just wish that it was a little more clear and a little more streamlined, and I wish that they would kind of just communicate just a little bit better.
Yeah. As we're talking through it, it does make a little bit more sense, but yeah, I think a lot of this could have just been avoided if they had conveyed, because now that I'm looking at these two lists back to back, like, that feels like the connecting thread. And I'm like, if you had just said that, like, I don't know, it wouldn't have been as egregious.
WNDs, dude.
But
weird Nintendo decisions.
Yeah, just to double down, I guess, because I feel like I'm sorry, I'm all over the place with how we're going about this, but all the games that are getting free upgrades are ARMS, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Mario Odyssey, Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Clubhouse Games, Link's Awakening, Echoes of Wisdom, Game Builder Garage, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Scarlet, Violet, and Big Brain Academy. And the ones that you will have paid upgrades for are Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Party Jamboree, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Yeah. Anything missing from that you can think of that you wish was getting an upgrade?
I mean,
for me, the big one, like I was just Arceus. That's the first one that comes to my mind that I think really would have been, and Sword and Shield. I don't know why Scarlet and Violet and not Sword and Shield, but
because Scarlet and Violet needs it.
I mean, they do need a way more.
Sword and Shield is like it runs fine. Like, no one was. Everybody was mainly just complaining about textures in that game whenever it first came out. But I didn't get any like frame rate issues or like general like performance issues. But Scarlet and Violet, I think, is like the main offender for bad performance on the Switch. I think that's the first game that everyone thinks of whenever you think of bad Switch performance.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely needs it more than probably any other game on that list. But I'm glad that they're willing to do it with like ports, like Captain Toad. That was a Wii U game that they ported over. So I'm glad that they're willing to do it with some games that aren't even just like Switch games. I hope. Oh, dude, give me some Pikmin 3. Give me some.
Yeah, Pikmin 4 isn't on this either, which, I mean, I never heard it had performance issues, but like you said, I'm sure that we'll probably get more as time goes on. But my other question for you, and I don't know if you saw something that I've missed, is do we know if any of the games that, because essentially almost everything is backwards compatible. There's like a couple of exceptions, like very limited, that they have on a website that have a couple of issues, but those are very few and far between. So are those games not going to run better just inherently on the fact it's on better hardware?
See, that was my big question too. It's like we have Switch 2 editions of these games, but I mean, me just sticking in, you know, my Breath of the Wild into my Switch 2, is it not just gonna, like, it seems like such a weird kind of thing to me.
Yeah,
and
because like
I don't know what they're cooking, dude. I really don't.
Because
it's so odd.
You pop a PS4 game into a PS5, and like at least at the bare minimums, the load times are going to be better. You know, and Xbox has that feature where it's like they have the native upscaling and stuff like that, whatever they're called. I forget. It's like a thing they have where you know, it tries to do HDR support if it can, and like better frame rates and things like that too. And that's just like built into the Xbox itself. Like that's almost every game. So it's just kind of confusing to me why some of these require updates. And how, like, they wouldn't like gatekeep, like if a game would just naturally run better, right? Like they wouldn't like put something like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, like you're saying, why certain games are on this list specifically, versus what does that mean for all the other Switch 1 games that they put in there, if we'll see any kind of performance upgrade. Because that would be, you know, again, Three Houses isn't on here. Not a game I thought ran poorly, but like that's one game that I've talked about wanting to go back to, and I would be a little more motivated if I knew that it was gonna at least look better, you know, if there's any sort of
I think at a certain point, like we get pretty much any like main Switch 1 game, like I'm sure by the end of the Switch 2 life cycle there will be a Switch 2 edition of it where, you know, at least it's up-res and improved performance and all that kind of stuff, at least like the basics. But like I said, I do think that it's just gonna kind of be a drip feed, and all this stuff only got announced yesterday too. Like they've got a whole 2 months to kind of convey to us like exactly the way that they're gonna go about this. I don't know if there will be another direct before Switch 2 comes out. I know that they're gonna have a Mario Kart direct in 2 weeks on the 17th, I think. But I mean, I think we just kind of we have to keep an eye on the Nintendo app that they dropped at the
that kind of made me download it
at the end of the last direct
to
see them talk about all this stuff, I guess.
It's all leading up to this. All right, do you want to get into some of the specs of the system itself?
Yeah, we could do that.
So the screen on the Switch is touchscreen, 7.9 inch wide, so it is bigger than the Switch 1. 1920 by 1080 pixels. Variable refresh rate up to 120 hertz. That's pretty huge. I did not think we would get 120 hertz on this thing. That's pretty impressive. I think that's, and you know, I've seen some off-screen gameplay in the last day. I know we both really wanted an OLED, and I've heard other people say this, that LCD technology has come a long way over the years. And like I have a PlayStation Portal, and that screen is actually really pretty too, and it's also LCD. And so I think that the colors do seem to pop still on this new one from what I've seen, the very limited footage I've seen.
Yeah, and it still doesn't look like inherently bad.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like, if I put the two screens together like on my desk and had them both on, like I might be able to tell the difference. But I mean, if I just turn it on and, you know, boot up Mario Kart World, then I probably wouldn't notice that much. I might, but it would be very, very minuscule. I think it still looks really good.
Yeah. Two Joy-Cons that have magnetic attractions this time instead of the sliding thing that's supposed to help with the stick drift, I think. So that's good.
Yeah, very excited about that.
256 gigabytes of internal storage. It's not huge.
It's, I mean,
Not huge.
at least it's more than the Switch.
It is.
I mean,
It is. For reference, I think I saw somewhere Cyberpunk is coming to this thing, and I think it's like a 40 something gig download.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's
40 something
like,
gigs, and they fit it all on a physical cart.
yeah, which is great. But just like,
And I think those carts are 64 gigs.
yeah, so that's like a fourth of your, or I guess a sixth of your memory. You know, you could have like 6 games at a time potentially. You know, and Cyberpunk's big, but you know, yeah, they do have micro SD cards that you can use as well. Though they, I think, did you see about that? I think it is supposed to be express SD cards now, so I don't think you
Yeah,
can
so now it's the
use
express one, so you can, yeah, you can't just use your one that's currently in your Switch, I don't think.
yeah, that's
Unless you have an express. I don't know if the express ones work with current Switch. I think I just have like a regular micro SD.
Yeah.
So I'll have to buy another one of those.
Yep,
But
which
I mean,
is not cheap.
for more storage, it's fine.
Yeah.
For more storage, I don't care.
Bluetooth, wireless LAN, and it does have a wired Ethernet port on the dock. Thank God.
Thank God. They kept that from the OLED. I'm very, very happy about that.
Yeah, at least
I have so many
didn't fully
like
regress from
LAN
the OLED.
adapters. Yeah, I have so many LAN adapters from like trying to play Smash Online. So just being able to have that in the system is so huge. I hate that I'm saying that in 2025. Nintendo, please.
Yeah. Speaker's supposed to be better. 3D audio. 2 USB-C ports. Audio jack. I think those are all the big ones that would pertain to us.
Built-in microphone.
Yes, yeah. We figured out what the C button was. I didn't know if we wanted to give that its whole own dedicated thing, but yeah.
Oh yeah. We can do that.
Well, I mean, yeah. That's really all the extra thing was that there's a C button on one of the Joy-Cons. That's the biggest difference between it and the old ones from a visual standpoint. Like I said, they are magnetic, so the way they snap in will be a little different. But yeah, so they're adding game chat, I guess, basically through the Joy-Cons, through the Switch itself, which again, something we've had on like the PS5 controller for a while now. But yeah, what were your thoughts when you saw this?
It popped up like it literally just looks like a Discord call.
Yeah.
They just put Discord on the Switch. That's it. And it this was the part that I maybe like laughed at the most in the entire presentation. It looks like buns. I mean, like the voice chat segment itself, sure, that's probably fine. But then we start getting into, you can screen share with your friends. They're selling a microphone accessory for your Switch 2 that you just set right next to it whenever it's in docked mode, right in front of your TV, and it will capture you.
Oh, the camera, you mean?
And it, yeah, the camera. And it looks like buns. It looks so bad, dude.
It's giving.
At least they were
Connect.
honest about it.
It's giving Connect from 10 years ago. And it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't things, because like, yes, Nintendo should have had game chat, and you know, we've had the PlayStation Eye, we've had the Connect, and so it feels ridiculous now. But it's also one of those things where the longer you don't put it in, you know, the more people are going to be like, this is such a basic feature we've had forever on these other systems. Why isn't this here?
Yeah.
So it feels like it's too little, too late. And like you said, the quality of what they showed for a lot of it was not good. I was not impressed by.
Yeah.
But it's better that it's there than it's not, assuming that didn't, drive
Yeah,
the cost up
definitely.
$50, I guess. But I'm not confident they're features that are going to be well used. I mean, I will say the Mario Party ones, as someone who's played that online with friends before, like I think having the camera for that could be really fun, and I could see Nintendo doing fun stuff with it. But again, it's kind of bogged down by the money side of things, where I'm like, and they have said that there could be other cameras that you get that are compatible, so you don't necessarily have to get the Nintendo one.
Oh, okay, cool.
So if you already have one that happens to be compatible, then that's great, and that is just a net positive. But I don't know. It would be a really hard sell to be like, all right, now spend $60 more on this camera for like two
Yeah.
really quirky interactions with a couple of games and then never use it again.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I was telling Kayla whenever we were watching it yesterday. It was like, if I were to buy this camera, it would be only for Mario Party, and I'd probably use it once or twice and be like, oh, that was fun. Okay, cool. And then I'd probably would not touch it again until, maybe the next Mario Party for a game or two. Like, I think this is really good specifically for the people that don't have like dedicated Discord access where they can like share their screen on their PC and have like, capture cards that like are able to do that kind of stuff. Because if I'm playing Mario Party with my friends, I'm probably just in Discord VC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've got a PC, all this stuff works perfectly well, and it's so much better than probably what that will be. But for the people that don't have that kind of access, whether it just, some people just have like Discord on their phone or something, and it's not as good as having it like on a PC and being able to do all that. So
yeah,
it's more for those people, and I'm happy that those people have that option at least.
Yeah. I am sure there will be a very small group of people that will have a lot of fun with that. So, and I never had a Kinect. I had like I think I had the PlayStation. Yes, I did have the PlayStation camera because I had to have it for my VR setup or whatever, and I used that.
Do you remember the iToy?
Oh, I
on
do.
The PS2, Chris?
Yep.
Dude.
I didn't have that one, but I remember it. I wanted it.
I played the heck out of that thing.
PS2, dude. And now on the Switch 2, we're getting the same device. That's kind of wild. But yeah. So that's a lot of the hardware stuff. Were there any other accessories you saw that stood out to you? There is a new Pro controller with back buttons on it.
I was about to say Pro Control. Yeah, Pro Controller with the paddles is huge. Or I don't even want to call them paddles, but yeah, back buttons. Yeah, I mean that's kind of it, right?
Pro controller,
like I don't think they announced any other big.
Pro controller is $80. And the old Switch Pro controllers are compatible, so that is huge.
Oh, but okay, cool.
So
I did not catch that part.
Which is huge. That is a really
that's actually massive.
Consumer friendly thing that they're doing. So credit where credit is due there.
Yeah.
And what else is it here? There is a Joy-Con 2 wheel set, a throwback to when I said last episode that I played the Wii version.
Yeah.
With the wheel, my dreams can become a reality once again. So that's big for me. Only $20.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Only 20? That's not bad.
Yeah. There was one other thing I think I was going to mention, and I think it has slipped my mind. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but there is a GameCube controller they're also selling separately, which is pretty cool. I don't see a price on that one.
I'm pretty sure that the N64 controller was 60 or 70 because I have the N64 one. So I would imagine it'd probably be around the same price. It'll be between the $60 and $80 range, I would think.
Okay. I remember what I was going to say now. The other thing that I saw in some of the impressions I was reading today was that I don't even know what you call it. The kickstand, I guess, on the Switch 2 seems to be much more sturdy than the Switch 1.
It seems so much better.
I never used the Switch 1 kickstand because it seems so flimsy. Did you ever use that at all?
Oh yeah, we would use it all the time. Specifically at like Smash tournaments and stuff.
Right, that makes sense.
Once the OLED came out and it came with like, you could take off basically like the whole bottom half of the back and use that as a kickstand. Yeah. That was like infinitely better. But the OG Switch, that kickstand was functional enough, but I never felt safe putting it up anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was really hard to put it on like tables, like graded tables. Like if you were playing it like outside or something, and there was like holes in a table, kind of. It would just like fall right through that sometimes, and it was so like, it's just so not right. I don't know why they made that thing like that.
All those kids
it worked for some people.
outside at lunch trying to play Smash with their friends and just falling through. It's so
just
sad.
goes
It's
right
such a
through the
sad
picnic
thought.
table.
So yeah, it seems like a lot of improvements. I mean, I think the hardware itself was impressive. The only thing I saw that was a negative was no OLED, but 120 hertz, VRR, HDR. I mean, this is all kind of best case scenario, I think, from a hardware standpoint.
Yeah.
So
I'm really pleased with the hardware side of it.
All right, I think the next big thing really is just getting into the games.
I'm so excited for this part, Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, these games look so good. This was such a good showing of games, I think, especially for like a launch lineup, launch window kind of deal. At least, you know, showing off stuff for like the first 6 months, roughly. I mean, the show starts off with Mario Kart, of course, which we kind of knew was coming.
Yeah.
And man, it looks good. Like whenever the trailer first started, I was like, oh man, this kind of just looks like more Mario Kart.
Yeah, I felt the exact same way. And I said from the get-go, whenever they did that very brief tease back in, I guess, February or whatever it was.
Yeah.
With this, I was like, why are you showing the most barren, boring world you could possibly show? And they did like a little desert gas station thing. I was like, this is just open fields of nothingness. And then once you get into it, there's much more. And I watched the trailer just for this again this morning. I was like, oh, okay. I caught like way more things that kind of stood out to me. But yeah, within the context of it,
because we've got like the jet skis, and we've got, you know, it seems like there are more types of carts, which is always cool. Like, and then from there you kind of start getting into the nitty gritty of it, which is this, you know, grinding on rails and jumping off walls and like all this like crazy kind of like movement stuff.
Because the freaking Moo Moo Meadows cow is in it. Yeah, exactly.
I can't believe the Moo Moo Meadows cow.
Dude, have you seen the roster?
84 characters, bro.
It's insane.
84 is insane to me.
I really, really thought the gimmick for this game was going to be that it's like the Smash of kart racers because of the fact they brought in, you know, Zelda or Link from Zelda and, you know, the Splatoon kids. Villager. And yeah, like there's so many crossover characters in 8. And so I thought they were going to really lean into it here. But instead they're like, no, we're just going to take every character we've ever had in a Mario game and just put them in here instead. Which leads to some really funny, quirky picks that I think people are actually going to really like. Like, I'm unironically excited to play as the cow and the penguin from the Mario
I'm
games.
so excited for the penguin, dude. That's the one. That's what I wanted the most. Yeah. Whenever I started seeing all the enemies pop up, I was like, dude, please give me this penguin. But like, there's Charging Chucks, there's Lakitus, there's this giant open world, which is like maybe the next like crazy part. I mean, this is how you make an iteration of Mario Kart. Like we've essentially, like with Mario Kart 8, I feel like you've made the perfect kart racer. Mm-hmm. I don't think that there's another one better than it. I think that you've perfected it. Now, how do we go up? And it's interconnect all of the tracks, you know, make it this big explorable world that you can go through. I can't tell whether or not driving through the world is actually going to be fun. That was going to be my question. That's my one hang up.
Yeah.
Will there be fun stuff to do throughout the world other than just like drive around and explore?
Yeah. Are there going to be things to find? Is it like a Forza Horizon? If you give me like a Forza Horizon open world where I'm constantly finding other cars that I can unlock, or like other, you know, you wouldn't have parts in this. I think they've already confirmed they're not doing like the whole putting the cars together, you know, like you could in 8, where you pick your glider separately from your tires from your actual
and honestly, thank God.
Yeah, I never really found
that's the one part of 8 that I never. Yeah,
but like if you're going to have an open world here, like what I'm a little worried because we didn't see that much of it, and what we saw didn't. I didn't feel like there was any substance to it necessarily, but like you said, we're getting a whole direct in 2 weeks, and so I think that hopefully they'll dive into that a little bit more, because that's like kind of, I mean, look, if I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get the bundle with Mario Kart, obviously, right?
Of course.
But like, as far as like the make or break for me, it's gonna come down to the exclusives, right? And this is the only exclusive outside of Welcome Tour, which we'll get to. That's gonna be there on day one, right? The only new day one Switch 2 exclusive game is this, and without Mario Kart's not a traditionally single player game, right? I think we talked about that in the last episode, even.
Right. Yeah.
But that mode could feed that, kind of part of me for a while if it's substantial enough. I'm just a little cautious from the very sneak peek we got of it so far. What is actually in there? But
I mean,
the new mode. Other than that, the sort of what do they call
kind
it?
of the knockout tour, like the kind of like battle royale kind of mode.
Yeah, that looked really fun, and that's also
it looks so cool.
A cool iteration. To explain the iteration, that new mode is where you have a race along 4 different tracks or something like that, and you start with, say, I think 20 something racers, maybe it was even 32 or something, and you'll get to a checkpoint, and if you're not in the top 16, then you get eliminated, and then the next checkpoint, if you're not in the top 8, you get eliminated. So it is a cool little constantly building race as you go. So that
and that mode right there, that's kind of the, you remember Chocobo GP that came out a couple years ago, the Final Fantasy kart racer
in the world who probably does, yes, because you and I talked about it. Yeah.
I ended up buying that game on day one because I just had to know, and that was pretty much the gimmick of the entire game, was that mode specifically. Like the GP of it was, this essentially like knockout mode where you try to make your way all the way up to the top, and then Square Enix charged me $50 in microtransactions just to unlock Cloud as a character. And so I said, no thank you, Mr. Square Enix. You will not have my money. And then I never came back.
Dear Lord.
But yeah, I mean, dude, Mario Kart just looks so good. Whenever they first showed Mario Kart and the Switch 2 like reveal thing, I was like, cool, Mario Kart. Mario Kart has never been like a big like hype game for me, but it's just a game that's always been there. And I think that the games are super fun, and if anybody is ever playing them, like, I'm so down to play, but I don't like actively go out and like seek playing Mario Kart. This game has kind of changed my mind on it a little bit. I'm genuinely very excited for this, and will 100% be playing it day one.
Yeah, it's a game that I really enjoy in bursts. Like, if I'm playing this game for like more than an hour and a half, I'm getting bored typically. And so I hope that the fact there are 3 modes, and one of them in theory could be really in depth with the open world. I hope that kind of alleviates that. So I'm hopeful. Yeah, but I definitely am going to be watching the direct on it later to see what else is in store, because I haven't talked at all about online either. And if there's any sort of unique takes on that, let's go around. Is there a battle mode? I need to know if there's a battle mode.
Oof, please. Yeah. Like, yeah, it truly does look amazing. I just hope that the online is like good, functional. The online in Mario Kart before was honestly like probably the best online of most like competitive online Switch games. Yeah. Just because it doesn't require such like precise like kind of readings from other people's internet connections, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I just hope that the internet overall is better on this thing, because that's probably my biggest gripe about the Switch, or just Nintendo in general. You ever try to play Brawl online on the Wii?
Oh, I did. Yeah. No.
Oh, brother, it was not a good time. It was not a good time. Let me
tell you. It was less did you play Brawl and more did you kind of like watch one of those flip books, but like someone was only turning a page like once every 3 seconds is really what it was. You weren't as much of an active participant as you were an observer. Yeah,
that's so real.
That was a formative memory though, dude. I didn't stop me from trying, dude. Especially at that point in my life.
That's what I'm saying.
Like a kid.
Yep.
I got nothing but time, dude. I'll fight this. I'll
nothing but time.
A game maybe that runs. Yeah. So that was cool. like I said, that is the only game other than Welcome Tour that is a Nintendo specific game on launch day, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, well, I guess, no, I was going to say the Bravely Default remaster, but I mean, that's kind of on the us, so.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Do you want to talk about the
the
welcome tour? Because,
I-
dude, what is this, man? Like, I think it's a really cool idea. I mean, it's like the Astrobot style, kind of thing for a Switch 2.
Do not use our Lord and Savior's name in the same sentence as
No.
as this trash heap. No, but you're right. That's the most comparable thing you can do, right? Compared to is
This should be a pack-in title.
it makes
like
absolutely zero sense.
To ask people to pay for this is not that I'm knocking the quality of whatever this may be. I've actually seen on Twitter today a lot of people saying there's actually some pretty cool stuff in here, but from what they've shown right here, it's like this should just be like
it looks like
in my like help menu.
Yes, it looks like an interactive game manual. Like it doesn't even look as again. The closest comparison you can make is Astra's Playroom, the free pack-in that came with the PS5 that was a 4-hour platformer, 3-hour platformer, whatever, that was fantastic and gave you like the sense of what the DualSense could do. So in that sense, it was a tech demo for the DualSense, but also like showed you the inner workings of the PlayStation, like the cooling fan, in these fun interactive ways. Maybe a little less directly informative than this was going for, but it was free and it was super high quality. And this, they haven't put a price on it, so we don't know how much it is, but to have to pay anything for this, that the text that they were displaying on it that's supposed to be informative, to me looks like stuff you would read in an instruction manual, like those things that used to be free, like that you didn't even bother opening in a package, and now you want to make me pay for it. Like, this is easily the most confusing aspect of the entire presentation for me. I didn't really love the visual style of it anyway, but to charge for it, I just don't know what they're thinking. Any amount for this is insane. And
I was about to say, I can't imagine this being any more than like $10. Like, there's no world that I see this being any more than $10. And if it is, if people actually pay for it, because I just don't think that anyone would pay for this. If it's any more than that, if it's $10, sure, maybe I'll hop in and see what these little crappy flash game looking mini games are all about. But
I bet it's at least 20. I bet it's at least 20. Yeah,
maybe.
But I mean, for context, I haven't read his book yet. I want to, but Reggie Fils-Aimé, the former president of Nintendo guy, the face of American president of Nintendo, whatever that title is. I remember when he was doing interviews about his book, said that he had to fight tooth and nail to get Wii Sports to be bundled in with the Wii for free. Nintendo just didn't understand the concept of not charging people for their work. And he won that fight, and it made the Wii I think a pivotal role in making the Wii one of the most successful consoles of all time.
I agree.
And so now that he's not there, I'm not surprised, I guess. There is some logic you can follow through that's just kind of their default, but I think it's, in this instance, incredibly out of touch. This
was the moment where I felt like they were trying to nickel and dime me.
Yes. Yep.
Just a little bit.
Yep.
Where I kind of got like the first hint that they were going to nickel and dime me, and then all the prices and stuff come later. But yeah, paid digital only game. It's so wild to me. Let's see what else we got here. We've got some
we got Dragon Drive.
Oh, another we have Dragon Drive, and then the other Switch 2 edition game that we didn't talk about was Prime 4. It's gonna have a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 edition. It's gonna have a performance mode, 1080p, 120 FPS. Is crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. With mouse functionality, which I guess we didn't even talk about in the hardware stuff. That is the other big thing, I guess, about the Switch 2, if you don't know, is that the Joy-Cons can be detached and then placed on their side to use like a computer mouse, and whether it's on your leg or on a surface. That's the big gimmick, I guess, of the system that is going to be on
which I think is cool. I can't say whether or not I'm actually going to use it that much, but it just doesn't look very comfortable.
No, it doesn't.
Is my only my only gripe.
90% of the time, the reason I was asking you about the kickstand earlier is like, if I'm playing a game handheld, like I'm holding it in my hands, typically, I'm not typically at a spot where I can put it down somewhere. And so, how would that work? You know, like just hold it in one hand, with the other. And then, I mean, if you are going to be able to set it up, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll have room to do like a full range of motion. I feel like you'd want, so then you're going to have to like use it on your leg or whatever, I feel like, which I've seen some impressions today that say they feel like it's more accurate than they expected it to be, but that's something I'm just going to have to see and feel to believe as far as its functionality in most situations. But
it's a little odd, but like you said, I kind of have to see it for myself before I can really make an opinion. We've got drag and drive.
Yep.
I forget, is that what the name of it is?
It is drag. If we're spelling it out, yes, it was drag X drive. I don't know if it's supposed to be just drag drive, drag cross drive. You know, it's kind of like the Hunter Hunter thing. I used to say Hunter cross Hunter, and people made fun of me. So whatever. I don't know what the point of the X is in our society anymore, but yes.
When this trailer started, dude, I thought this was DJ Hero 3. Swear to God, I was freaking out that we were going to get DJ Hero 3 as a Switch 2 exclusive. And then, I mean, this looks cute. Like, do I see myself playing this for very long? No, but like it seems cool. Like a cool little way to kind of get used to like the mouse functionality of the controllers themselves.
Yeah. Again, feels like something that would have been a perfect pack-in. You know, like you find your friends,
yes, exactly,
and you say, "Hey, let's try out this online. Let's try out these new motion controls." But it's paid. It's a 3v3, you know, in wheelchair basketball kind of game.
This is our Mario 3-on-3 hoops. This is what they gave us.
That's what I was thinking when I watched. I was like, a monkey's paw, dude. It's curling. It's like you said you wanted a Nintendo 3-on-3 basketball game. What do you mean? But I don't see any Square Enix characters. I don't see any coins when they go to dunk these. Okay, there's the charm isn't there, which I guess is really more than anything else. I mean, you could get a game like Rocket League, right? And I think one of the reasons Rocket League did so well was it was free on PlayStation Plus when it came out. I really think that helped it. But also, the presentation of Rocket League was great. You have these really kinetic feeling explosions when you land your goals. You have the stadiums that are super brightly colored and really flashy and things like that. And I do think this is just missing. Like the stadiums are like super barren and empty. It's kind of it to me it was missing. Some of
it just looks like a gymnasium.
Yeah, like there's no one cheering in the stands or anything like that. I don't know. It felt like it was missing some of that Nintendo charm.
It looks like they all broke in at like 3 a.m. Like
exactly, exactly.
They're all just hooping. But I mean, it looks cool. If they try to charge me any more than like $40 for that, I don't know if I'm completely in on it. Unless there's some more content that they haven't shown us. But if that's all the game is, and I already don't have a lot of faith in Nintendo sports titles, as with the past few years. So if they try to charge me, you know, any more than $40 for that, I'm probably out.
Yeah,
but it still looks fun. I'd play it if somebody let me in.
Yeah, it's one of the that's the problem, right? Like it looks fun, and so I just wish the barrier to entry was. It looks fun enough to try, but again, in this market, and when you're charging me so much for everything else, like I have to draw the line somewhere, and for me, this did not do it. At a price, I should say. So, but I definitely would have tried it out if it was free or part of NSO online or anything like that. So, speaking of NSO, before I forget, I know we're talking about software. Do we want to take a quick aside and talk about the GameCube software that is coming?
I would absolutely love to.
I thought you might.
This was one of the most hype moments of the entire thing for me, of the entire direct, because I mean I've been begging for GameCube for so long, and this is one of the times or I didn't feel like Nintendo was trying to nickel and dime me, because they could realistic. I feel like they're doing us a solid. They could take all of these games, they could slap HD remaster on it, put it in a case, put it up at my local Target for $60, and I would buy it every freaking time.
Well,
but no, they're like,
the ironic thing is that everyone did want one of these to be an HD remake, and now it almost certainly will not be because it's on here. That would be really weird.
Yeah,
which is Wind Waker.
Yeah,
but
I do wish. That's the one thing that I'm upset about, is that Wind Waker is not Wind Waker HD. Even though Wind Waker HD is a Wii U game,
well, it's like,
because Wind Waker HD is just a significantly better game.
Yes, it is a superior way to play that game.
Soul Calibur 2, however, is an insane pull.
That's really cool.
Like,
but just because of the fact Link's in it, like, it feels Nintendo enough for that. And Soul Calibur, as you know, on its own, is a franchise that hasn't gotten a lot of love in recent years. So it's cool to have an easier way.
This version of Soul Calibur 2 has been trapped on the GameCube. The only way to play it is to pull out your GameCube or emulate it, and that's it. Like, it has not been brought back in any way, shape, or form. You cannot play Link any other way. So to have that here and to possibly have online multiplayer is freaking insane to me.
Yeah.
And then they go.
The three that they are bringing on day one are Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX. Which I know you're also very excited about F-Zero GX.
I'm so excited about F-Zero GX, dude. Just looking at this. And again, the online functionality.
Yeah, they
race with 4 people online.
For sure with this one. They didn't say, I don't think, about Soul Calibur if it will have online.
They didn't say for Soul Calibur.
But F-Zero will have play online with your friends mode, which is awesome.
It's just amazing. And then, of course, they announced a bunch of others that you can remap all of your controls to whatever suits you best, and then they kind of just threw a bunch of other titles that'll be added up here: Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Mario Strikers, Chibi Robo, and then I think the other one was Luigi's Mansion and Pokemon Coliseum. Like, scalpers are scared. They're trying to get rid of their stock as fast as they possibly can. Specifically, like Chibi Robo, Mario Strikers, Pokemon Gale of Darkness, and Fire Emblem. Those games are expensive on eBay.
Yeah.
So scalpers are very, very upset at the moment.
And credit where credit's due. Again, I don't agree with a lot of, I won't say a lot, but there's certainly things that I have problems with how Nintendo's handling all of this. But the fact that they seemingly knowingly pick the games that are most difficult to get a hold of to start with is, I think, a very good and consumer friendly move as well.
They knew exactly what they were doing with this. As soon as I saw Chibi Robo, like, dude, nobody's talking about Chibi Robo since since the kind of crappy Chibi Robo game on the 3DS. They know exactly what they're doing with that, and I'm so happy that they're at least aware of it.
Yeah,
and like the desire to play these much sought after games.
Yeah, I wish it was more than just those 3 at launch. Again, just because I'm thinking from my perspective, like, okay, I played Wind Waker. I don't really feel the need to replay the GameCube version again. And I don't know. I mean, is there a campaign in F-Zero GX? Is it?
Yeah. There's like a whole like story mode.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just thinking again, they feel like kind of more competitive, multiplayer focused games to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know they probably both have in Soul Calibur, I'm sure has like some arcade, if not also story mode to it as well. But like, I've never played Coliseum or Gale of Darkness, never played that Fire Emblem. Like, those would have been really cool to have right at launch, but those first 3 will be there on launch day. I mean, I think we've all known they've been slowly building out the old games that you can play through Nintendo Switch Online. So GameCube was next, so it makes sense that it's here.
It's only a matter of time before it gets Melee on there, buddy.
And that's what I was going to say. That's my last question. Why is Melee not included in this list? Isn't that weird to you?
It is like a little weird, but also, so the thing that I worry about with GameCube games specifically is shoulder buttons. That's like kind of the gimmick of the GameCube, or I don't even know if it's a gimmick, but they're essentially like, I think they're analog, or whatever word there is.
Specific sensitivity, right? That's what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Yeah. So like you could, the harder you press on it, the more you know, it should react and you can like barely tap it and react less. Like that was the whole thing about Flood in Mario Sunshine, right? It was like,
Yeah, so with Flood, that was the whole like kind of everyone was worried about whether or not they could ever port Mario Sunshine onto, you know, current gens, because they would have to have triggers or a way around that. With Melee, it's kind of a similar thing. In Melee, you have light shield and you have hard shield. If you press it down all the way, like that's full shield. Like, you know, light shield, you just barely press down on your right or your left shoulder button, and you still shield moves, but you get pushed away farther. So that's like the only weird thing that I could see with Melee. But besides that, I mean, I don't see any other reason unless they're remaking Melee. That
no
would be,
way.
that would be, yeah. I mean, it's not happening. But wouldn't it be crazy?
That would be crazy. That would be crazy.
Because I'm pretty sure that we do have Smash 64 on the N64 NSO.
Yep, it is.
So I think it's a matter of time. They just have to kind of figure out the workarounds for the triggers.
Yeah, that and Animal Crossing are the two ones that were weird to me. They were missing, but
yeah,
on the list, like, period. But yeah, I think that's it for the big stuff on GameCube. Did you have any other big? I know there's at least one other big launch window game that we haven't talked about yet that was announced.
There's still a couple games at the end. Some of the third party stuff real quick, I do kind of want to just rapid fire through. I mean, Elden Ring, you know, just right out the gate.
Yep.
Everybody kind of expected it.
Yep.
But guess what? Switch 2 can run Elden Ring. Hades 2, of course, that's a given. That's like a perfect Switch game. Street Fighter 6 is kind of a crazy one to me. I didn't think that there was ever going to be a way that this game was going to make its way onto Switch. Just because the controls, I feel like for the Joy-Cons would be so strange. Yeah. But they figured out a way around it.
Look, dude, if you can play modern controls, you can play anything, dude.
And the fact that it comes with both fighter passes.
Dude,
Amiibo
these
lives.
Amiibo lives. I thought we were so done. Dude. I thought they were never going to make another one. I'm so glad that we're not. I'm so glad that Amiibo are still alive and kicking. I thought I got out, dude, but that Kimberly one looks really good. She's my main, so
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm getting all those, and I mean all the Amiibo cards that are down there for all the different fighters, like. And I'm pretty sure it says on there that those are launch day.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, available on the same day as Nintendo Switch 2. So it's like they're milking even more out of me on day one, because these Amiibo are also more expensive than normal Amiibo. Each one of these Amiibo is $30.
That's right. I forgot. I did look that up, and I think I just immediately blacked out. I was like, oh, yeah. That's insane, bro.
Yeah, $30 a pop. I think those are the most expensive, like, single Amiibo that aren't like the Guardians from freaking Breath of the Wild. Like, I'm pretty sure that that's like a massive Amiibo, like this big around. It looks like a freaking Dungeness crab, and that thing is like $35, I think. But yeah, that is like one of the most hype moments of the entire direct for me, was seeing these Amiibo. I've gotten very into Street Fighter over the past couple years. A new Daemon X Machina game. I don't know if you remember this game whenever the first Switch was kind of going through its software promoting rounds.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But
I never played it, but
this
I
is
do
a big
remember
one. Yeah. This is a big one that they were promoting back then. It did not review very well. I did not think that we would see another one. This one still looks okay. I mean, it looks, it still looks like a mech game. It kind of looks a little Armored Core-y.
I feel like this was around the time the stream was messing up. I can't remember, because I remember seeing part of this and then thinking it was just like an enhanced version of the original, but this is a full sequel?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
This is a full sequel. Yeah, which is super cool. Maybe I'll jump into it. Maybe not. It kind of depends on the reviews once again, because I think that before this was getting like 6s and 7s across the board. I think mainly because it didn't run well, which maybe Switch 2 fixes.
Well, we're all waiting to find out, I guess.
Yeah. The James Bond 007 game that's been rumored for so long by IO Interactive. did get teased.
Yeah, literally just like a logo. I think it was confirmed that it was like that's what they were working on, but I think that's the first they've ever put anything out about like even a logo.
Yeah,
it's just called Project 007, so not even probably the official title if I had to guess. So that is probably very far off, but it is a sign of the fact that that's going to be a day and date on Switch 2, and it's a new game, so maybe there will be more. I think it's one thing that I was trying to figure out from this showcase is like, okay, it feels like it can play a lot of stuff because they have a couple years worth of games to catch up on now that the Switch 1 couldn't do, right? But like, are they still going to be able to keep playing new games with parity? Like, can we expect to see everything coming out like on PS5, Xbox Series, and Switch 2 now? Or is it just going to be like, no, we kind of still have to have our special Switch 2 edition that we dumb down if we're going to put it on there? So this is potentially a good sign that there's more parity than we think, but not sure.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
I feel like, maybe for the first couple of years we'll be good, and then as things progress and technology progresses, I think we'll be in a similar boat by the end of the Switch 2 life cycle.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
Next trailer after that was Bravely Default remaster, which that character in the beginning of this trailer looks exactly like a character from Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah, I definitely thought this was FF9 when it first started. I was like, what a
I about pooped my pants, dude. I was freaking out. And then it turned out to be this, which I'm totally fine with. Bravely Default, it's a 3DS JRPG made by Square, and they're good games. I've only played Bravely Default 2. I think there was 2 Bravely Default games on the 3DS. This one and Bravely Second.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm super down to hop into this. I'm pretty sure that this remaster, it's on launch day, and I think it was only like $40.
Okay.
Or maybe it was like 40 or 50, which is about the price of a 3DS game. So super sick. Yakuza 0 director's cut just for you, buddy.
Dude, I got so mad when I saw this. I was like, I know. 3 weeks after I beat this game, you're telling me there's a better version of it coming out, and something I could have been like, okay, well, this is worth buying on this system. But now, like 3 weeks, literally, I looked up my achievement to see how recent it was since I beat that game. If I had just waited a little longer, I could have had this. But it looks so. What they're adding for this one is a multiplayer mode, an English dub, and a couple of other language supports, and new cutscenes. And the new cutscenes is the big one. I really am sad that I'm going to miss out on that. People have kind of been speculating how in-depth those will be. But I'm jealous, that I could have had this, but please.
Just play it again, dude.
Please,
just play it again.
Andrew, play this game. Look, you've got the perfect excuse now. Everyone, please play this game when you get a Switch 2. Like this, what partly makes
Who do you sound like right now?
You trying to get me to play Xenoblade, except this game is half the length of it, even if you do
I'll play this game twice if you play Xenoblade once.
Look, even I'm not trying to play it twice, but that's because I got 8 other Yakuza games to get through. Okay, not because it's not worth it, but no, I mean, this would have actually been pretty perfect. This could have been the single player game that I got really excited for to save for Switch 1 because it's lengthy. It's actually one game I think really does benefit from being portable or docked, because I would want to have it docked for the big story stuff, but there's so much side stuff you can grind, like 2 really big kind of side mini games that are like management things that would be perfect to have in handheld to just kind of have on mindlessly while you're watching TV or something. It's actually a great pick for that. So I'm really angry at the universe for doing this to me, but
in your honor, I will play it for you. I'll let you know how it is, and I'll just spoil everything for you.
That's fine, dude. I never do this, but I'm just gonna look up Yakuza 0 director's cut cutscenes whenever this comes out, as soon as it's up.
No way.
No, dude.
Dang.
I have so many games, Yakuza games specifically, to get through. I cannot afford to go back and replay the one that I just played. That's like one of the longest. It's like I just can't justify that, but I really hope that it gets more people in the door. So
there was a Koei Tecmo logo appearance for a Hyrule Warriors game,
Brother,
Age of Imprisonment.
tell me what you think about this, because I saw this and I saw Koei Tecmo and I was like, not another Hyrule Warriors. And then it was exactly that. It was another Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, I'm not a big Warriors fan in general. Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors. I've at least attempted to like the Hyrule Warriors games. I've tried both of them, and I just wasn't a fan. Something about just like the loop of those games does not do anything for me. This one still looks good though. I'm excited to maybe play it this winter just to see like the story that leads up to Tears of the Kingdom. I think that is my biggest selling point on this.
Yeah, and I saw that
I do really like the story of Tears of the Kingdom, and to get more of that would be really cool. And to play as all these characters, man, God, you can play as Rauru. It looks like you can play as Minoru. Like, it might be cool. And if it runs better than Age of Calamity, which is the Switch Hyrule Warriors, that game ran like poop poop butt. Like, it was bad, dude. It was really bad.
Poop butt. Yeah, they've confirmed it's canonical, which I guess if you're super into the lore, it's cool. I mean, the only Musou game like this that I played and really liked was Persona Strikers, P5 Strikers. So
Yeah.
like, I get it if it's like your thing, but like if there were 3 Persona Strikers, I don't think even I would have played all 3 of them. You know, it's like at some point you gotta draw the line. I don't know. And again, not a Tears hater. I'm a Breath of the Wild hater, all right? But I'm even less interested, I guess, based off of the characters. Like you said, like I know that they're important to that time in the game, but it's like they're less recognizable to me, other than obviously Zelda. At least with the other Hyrule Warriors, it was like they were characters that I knew from the other games. These kind of look.
Remember Linkle?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So
it's very interesting, those games.
I was pretty disappointed to see another one of these, honestly, but
yeah,
whatever. I'm sure there must be an audience for them because they keep making them. So
yeah. I mean, people definitely do buy those games, and it's Zelda. Anything sells. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like
and if they're going for a Zelda every year, which it kind of seems like, then yeah, I think it's par for the course that we get one of those every so often.
Yeah.
Next big pop for me, dude. Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 is nuts. We've been waiting years for an update on this. I think Chapter 2 came out in like 2022.
A long time, man.
Maybe 23. It's been a while since we got any update on this. And Toby Fox went on Twitter and was like, yo, like, we're working on it, I promise. We're just waiting on localization and then it's done and then we're good. This gets announced. It is launch day for Switch, which is super cool, man. Like, I love that Nintendo and Toby Fox are like kind of BFFs now. They put Sans in Smash. They put Megalovania in Smash. Mm-hmm. Toby Fox did he composed some of the music in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, they're like super BFFs, and I just love it. Randy Pitchford, God, get him off the screen. What is that suit?
It's just burning my eyes. Yeah, it is cool. This is launch day. You have to assume this is probably multi-platform too. I don't think I've seen that confirmation anywhere, but I'm sure it's everywhere.
Yeah, there was confirmation, not in this, but yeah, elsewhere that it's everywhere.
Have you played Deltarune's Chapter 1 and 2?
Yes.
Okay, because I was just kind of waiting for it to all come out, but there's supposed to be 7 chapters.
There's supposed to be 7 chapters, and it's gonna be a while. I think that Toby Fox's goal, at least from something that I read, I think he did like a blog post or something, was that 3 and 4 are supposed to come out together, and then 5, 6, and 7 are all supposed to come out together. So
yeah. So for me, personally, it's like
it's probably
I kind of want to just hold out,
3 years off,
especially if it is going to take this long between. Like, I would not remember whatever happened in those games at this point in chapters 1 and 2. I would need to
I definitely
really get
I vaguely remembered some of the stuff. I only remember chapter 1 so much because I played chapter 1 whenever it first came out, and then I played it again whenever chapter 2 came out because I wanted to refresh myself for chapter 2.
Yeah. So
But,
me personally, I'm
yeah.
gonna wait until it's all out probably. So, but it is cool. I mean, that's a big get for them for sure.
yeah, that's so massive. You played Undertale, right?
Yes. Yep.
Good. Genuinely one of my favorite games of all time. I know that's kind of a basic thing at this point, but it genuinely is just such a cool, fun, good game that the music. I still listen to the music every day.
Yeah, it's great.
Cyberpunk. We kind of talked about Cyberpunk a little bit.
Yeah, it's cool.
Which
I think go ahead.
Performance mode, I think I saw it on Twitter somewhere earlier. I think Jason Schreier was tweeting about it. Performance mode 40 FPS.
Yep.
Is something.
Which I was trying to look up, but again, comparatively,
looks like
it on Steam Deck. Like, how does it run on Steam Deck? And I think I saw somewhere that like it generally runs around that on Steam Deck too. Like, you can get it up to 60 if you really tweak with the settings, I think.
Really?
I think this was one very specific example where I saw this and I was like, yeah, why would I? Again, for me personally, only me personally, like, if I really wanted this handheld experience, I would just get this on my Steam Deck. I wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't feel like it is going to be a better experience on Switch 2. But again, maybe once we see things in action, it'll be better. And I will say, I did get a dock for my Steam Deck. Trying to get it set up on my TV has been a pain. Like, the resolutions just never work right for me. You definitely do have to a lot more tinkering. But I think that's a me thing. I think I just haven't taken the time to really dig into it. So obviously the Switch 2, I assume, will work as well as the Switch 1, where it just works, and so there is something to be said for the streamlinedness of it all. So there is value. It's like I said earlier, it's all just a matter of perspective, I guess, and what you're looking for out of your stuff. So
yeah, for sure. Next up, the announcement of the entire show. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is coming to the Switch 2. It was so funny, dude, when the Cyberpunk trailer was going on. I was like, dude, if the Switch 2 can run this, it can run Final Fantasy VII Remake. And then immediately this pops up. I told Kayla that, and Kayla was like, "Stop counting or calling stuff."
Could it run Rebirth? And here's the real question: what's the door gonna look like? That one really bad door.
Please let the textures be okay, please.
Oh my god, what an ugly.
But door. I mean, definitely, just looking at the phrasing of this right here. Please look forward to more updates on the Final Fantasy VII Remake project for Switch 2. The remake project is the trilogy.
Yeah, Rebirth is definitely coming.
Rebirth is coming. Yeah, no question about it.
Cool.
I think for the most. Oh no, sorry. There's a sizzle reel with some.
Really, there's only one thing we need to talk about, those, and that's sizzle reel, and that is the confirmation that allegedly Silk Song still exists. Hollow Knight Silk Song
still exists.
Is coming in 2025.
2025.
But we have been lied to
I fought
in
for
this
big time.
exact same way before, just for the record. It was presented in a very similar fashion on the Xbox stage, 3 years ago? Said it was going to be coming out within the next year.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It's coming. It's coming, all right? Believe.
All right,
For my fantasy critic, believe.
Oh, we're going to get to your fantasy critic, dude. We haven't got to.
I've already dropped 3D Mario. Don't worry about it.
Wow. I wonder how that order works. If someone already countered. I think if you've dropped it before the counters go through, I think you get priority. So. Okay,
good. Because I dropped it pretty much as soon as I woke up this morning.
Dude, we don't know.
I didn't think to do it last night.
We don't know what the holiday game is for Switch 2, right? I mean, it could just be Metroid and Pokemon, but hey, maybe
it's Hyrule Warriors.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, they did say winter, so it could be like January, but I'm pretty sure it's just. Oh wait, maybe you're right. Maybe it's just Kirby Air Riders.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, we also don't have a date for that. So,
Yeah.
um,
The last third party game.
insane, dude. Insane. I'm actually so angry because I was watching this, and again, the stream was having issues, and so like I backed out to try and figure out what was like to fix it, and so like I missed like a second
Yeah.
of it. But as soon as
Yeah.
I saw this, I was like, "This is Bloodborne." Like
That's okay. That's what I
I
thought.
did call it like in the moment. I was like, people were saying, "Oh, it looks like Castlevania." I was like, "This is Bloodborne." Like I can tell the way that From Software games look and with like the tone of it all. I was like, I'm pretty
Yeah.
confident. And it basically was because it's called the Dust
The Dusk Bloods.
The Dusk Bloods, not the Dust.
Dusk
Bloods.
Yeah.
This is a PvPvE game directed by Miyazaki, the director of all the Souls games, except for 2, and a Switch 2 exclusive. I mean,
Crazy. How much did Nintendo have to pay FromSoft?
Dude. See, if this was coming day one, oh my god, dude, easiest sell of my life. It would be like I wouldn't I mean, I would care about the other stuff, but like this looks incredible for the video watching. That's the part that sent me the most. The little tin man just fly like Rocket Man flying across the sky. Like, oh my god, man. It was
it looks so unreal. And I mean, for it to be, I was talking to some of my people about this. Like, I think that this is the most, besides Mario Kart, I think this is the most system selling game that they've shown, if this stays a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive.
Yeah,
like,
I'm curious if it's
of the games shown today, at least.
I'm sure it is, but it's like also, who cares? It's a big enough game. You're not gonna want to wait. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's so clearly a spiritual successor to Bloodborne. It's insane. I mean, that looks.
I mean, that just looks like Cleric Beast.
That's just the Cleric Beast. Man, it looks incredible.
And then there are a couple other enemies that look just like Bloodborne enemies. Yeah. I think they're about to pop up here soon.
Dinosaur. You turn into a freaking T-Rex, like but the size of a Velociraptor. You got a guy singing his heart out. Man,
these enemies right here, those kind of look like in like the second area. I don't remember, but where like the big giants are with the wrecking balls or like the big ball and chains. I
mean, truly incredible that this exists. And is
was not expecting this at
all. If you had told me either the spiritual successor to Bloodborne or Kingdom Hearts Missing Link is going to get announced for the Nintendo Switch 2, I would have said, "Oh, I was just joking, but I guess Missing Link is coming." I mean, that's how unlikely I feel like this was. Available only on Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, that's just insane. I know some people are worried or upset about it being PvPvE and not like a pure PvE experience, but like you could kind of describe every Souls game like that. The fact they're going out of their way to, I mean, is probably means it will be more. I think the reaction and response to Night Rain will maybe paint a clearer picture on how people respond to multiplayer Elden Ring or From Software experiences, but you know, it really stuck with me. I was playing through Elden Ring last year for the DLC, and I'm such a purist. Like, I don't summon help in. I don't ever want any assistance because I want to feel like I've beaten it fully myself and can be proud of that.
Yeah.
But there's one of those dungeons that was like just a nothing burger dungeon. It was still fun to go through, but like one of my friends had already beaten it and we were there at the same time and we were already on a Discord call anyway. I was like, hey dude, just like, he said that it was like a structurally similar boss to someone I'd already fought and like it wasn't going to be hard. It's like, let's just summon each other in just like for fun because we never do that. And like it wouldn't feel like we were like cheating ourselves with something. And dude, it was one of my favorite memories of the entire game because like we just get in there and like are doing these coordinated attacks. Somehow we both like double critted him in the back and had this like super crazy moment we didn't even think was possible. And it was super flashy and all this stuff. And I was like, man, I wish I had more multiplayer experiences in these games because to get into the PvP is such an investment to like figure out what builds work and maximize everything. And like build your entire game around like, all right, well, this character is just, I'm never going to play any more of the PvE content on them because that's going to change my level scaling in a way that isn't optimal and stuff like that. And then the PvE, it's like, well, I want the feeling of challenge it takes to get through this by myself. So I'm missing out on a whole other layer. So I'm actually really excited for games that are built around the multiplayer where I don't feel bad about it. So I am still really optimistic about this and Night Rain, but I just can't believe it's Switch 2 exclusive. Just
it's so insane.
PlayStation has got to be,
to think that Nintendo is going to have a FromSoft exclusive game on their console, assuming that it stays exclusive.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
I would imagine that it probably will. I mean, this is going to be a Bloodborne scenario where, you know, it just doesn't come on anything else.
I think so, because it says, I don't know, Nintendo's going to do whatever they're going to do, but it's not like it said available only for a limited time on Switch 2 or something like that. You know, it straight up says available only on Switch 2. So,
yeah, absolutely unreal. And this, you know, from a very new FromSoft fan, I only just beat Bloodborne for the first time about a year ago. And that's, you know, that's when I started to fall in love with FromSoft games a little bit. So, very exciting for me. Very, very, and this is not at all what I expected to see in this direct. What a cool game. They honestly could have ended on that game.
I think they should have. Like, I mean, the next game, the last game we're going to talk about is still really cool, but like, it's not. I get why, you know, they want to end with their own thing, but like, come on. Yeah. We're going to top that from an internet hype standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, the internet hype on that game is going to go absolutely unreal. The internet hype on this game, I haven't gotten a good gauge.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. Yeah, Kirby Air Riders.
This one, Kirby Air Riders, it's one of those like if you know, you know, like
I think it's a very devoted fan base. The trailer was.
I mean, it's just a cinematic basically.
Yeah,
but
doesn't really show anything other than the fact Sakurai is the director, which is enough for me to be at least interested, and because I know there are people who are really passionate about the original game. But
dude, when the jet pops out of the star, dude, oh man, I get so excited like thinking about this trailer. This is probably the most hype announcement of the day for me.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. I mean, this is like a seriously beloved GameCube like classic that's just been trapped on the GameCube, never been ported. Like it's just been trapped there forever. And 20 years later, getting a new Kirby Air Ride, not on my bingo card for this at all. I at least expected Mario Kart. I at least expected, you know, a 3D platformer of some variety, whether it be Mario or Donkey Kong. But to get this and with a 2025 release date, or, you know, release window on it, like, we're going to have this game in the next, you know, 6 to 8 months. Yeah. It's crazy.
No,
it's absolutely insane.
I am cautiously optimistic. I'm just surprised they didn't show more, but it's great to see Sakurai is making something else, especially Kirby is clearly just a favorite of his. And so I'm glad he's going to hopefully do this as a passion project kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We will see.
I think that also means that we're a good ways off from
Smash, yeah.
From new Smash.
Dude, that trailer was such a tease because it like kind of started like it could have been a Smash trailer with the whole pitch black dark and like
we thought that it was Smash.
Yeah.
Me and Kayla like looked at each other and we were like, we just got a Kirby game, dude. This is not a Kirby game.
And yet, lo and behold.
And yet it is still kind of it is still a Kirby game. Because if you remember like the Smash Ultimate trailer kind of started off similar to that. Yep. Like they had just either come out with Splatoon 2 recently or, you know, something, and the Inklings come up and they're both just like fighting on like a level playing field and like a white background. And then out of nowhere, everything just turns dark, and then the giant Smash logo in the sky, and it's just, oh dude, it's so cool. That's exactly what I thought that trailer was.
Yeah,
exactly what I thought it was.
No, I remember that,
but I was very pleasantly surprised. Very, very pleasantly surprised. And then the last announcement of the day, Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is such a fun name.
What a good name. Just
it's a fantastic name. Yeah. The little Diddy Kong miners here in the it's so cute, man.
I can't get over how cracked Donkey Kong looks in his new design, man. His eyes, it's the eyes. I know people are saying it's like more stylized. They really like it. And I do in a lot of ways. It's just, why is there so much black around his eyeballs? But
yeah, I dig it. I dig the new look.
I think this game looks incredible. The destructibility of it all is insane. The colors popping, the tease of like more 2D oriented sections as well. The verticality of it, like seeing him punch through the ground into just this tunnel that's seemingly out of nowhere. I mean, yeah, it looks really, really good.
And it kind of took me back just a little bit. I went into this like so expecting a 3D Mario. To see DK come up, I'm like, okay, where's Mario at though? He's in this game too, right?
Yeah. We even said though, like last episode, we're like, Mario Kart and a 3D Mario in the same year, that would kind of be a lot of Mario. And this had been rumored at some point that there was a DK 3D game coming out as well. But no, I kind of brushed it aside because the Mario rumors had just become so prevalent. But yeah, shouldn't have forgot.
Yeah, I mean, it looks so incredible. And a month and a half after Switch 2 launch, July 17th, I believe. Yeah, it looks amazing. This is exactly the kind of game that I would want within the first couple months of Switch. Give me a month and a half to play some Mario Kart and some Deltarune, and then I'll hop into some Donkey Kong. And we haven't had a 3D Donkey Kong since 64, dude.
Yeah,
like this is really, really big. It kind of looks like the Odyssey team too, just a little bit.
I know. I wish they would just say, man. I wish they would just tell us who's developing these things. It makes no sense. But
they made me so mad, dude.
They it looks great. I do wish it was day one. A month later is like, okay, this again for me, the single player experience. This would fill that. I'd be like, I would be happy with this in Mario Kart. I'd be set.
Yeah.
But hopefully, Mario Kart will, like you said, it is only a month. So they've got their whole year from Switch 2 is Mario Kart. Then a month later, you get Donkey Kong. And then at some point, we're going to get Kirby. At some point, we're going to get Metroid. And at some point, we're going to get Pokemon Za. Do you think that's their whole year? Or do you think there's Hyrule Warriors? I literally just don't even count. You can remind me again in 5 minutes. I will have forgotten that game exists. Do you think that's their whole year?
Don't forget about the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, okay?
That one I did remember. I just chose to not say anything about.
I mean, I think that's the majority of the year for sure. I think that we'll get some more GameCube games released on the NSO. But as far as like full scale releases, like I think that's pretty much it. We might get one extra, like just in some random direct.
Yeah,
they might drop something that comes out in like a couple months. Maybe in September they'll announce or they'll hold a direct. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it for this year. We've kind of already got some of 2026 down a little bit. We've got Rhythm Heaven, Tamagotchi Life,
Dust Bloods. That's all I care
Dust
about,
Bloods. Yeah, I mean, and I guess from there, like we really don't know what 2026 looks like. But also, this console like just got announced.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm sure there's much more in store in the farther off future. But yeah, what are your final thoughts on all this? I mean, I know you were really excited coming into this. I feel like I was a little more negative, but I hope I still conveyed that like I am hopeful that a lot of this stuff speaks to me. I think Donkey Kong specifically. It is funny. I've seen impressions from people who got to go hands-on today. And I've seen a surprising amount of like people who were kind of on the fence about that one. They said some of the destructibility.
About Donkey Kong?
Yeah. They said that like the camera was really being weird with the destructibility and that it didn't feel necessarily as responsive or I guess tactile is maybe the better way as they were expecting.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. But
that is surprising.
I mean, that's the one I'm definitely cautiously excited for. As is Mario Kart for me. So I am still excited. Yeah. It's just the money of it all. It did bring me down a little bit, and top of
Yeah.
I wish there was more right out the gate, but I realize these things take time. So
Yeah. I'm so in the camp that like I'm just so ready for a new Nintendo console and new Nintendo games that excite me that I honestly don't care how much it costs. Like I would pay any amount of money to be like a main Switch gamer again, because I know I just haven't been a Switch gamer for like 2 or 3 years. They just have not, that they didn't keep me around for a long time. Every now and then I'll hop back on there and I'll play some Ultimate or, you know, a random indie, or I'll try to catch up on some backlog stuff. It's just like, man, the system just kind of sucks now.
Yeah.
Like it's just so outdated, and I'm ready for something new. And to finally see all of this and be excited to be a Nintendo fan again, it's like the most like overwhelming joy that I've felt in so long. I'm really up on this direct. I think this is like a solid like 8 or 9 out of 10 direct, but it's a 10 out of 10 in my heart. You know,
I get it. No, I think it's an 8 for me as well.
Yeah.
It was
Mainly with just all the weird
bad
stuff in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I am just in a weird spot because of my Steam Deck, because I'm just constantly asking myself, okay, if the main appeal of the Switch is the portability, is it going to be better than the Steam Deck? And that's just a question I think I'll have to see based off of, you know, once we actually get our hands on it, get more impressions, like how comparable is it to that? And at the end of the day, the exclusives, I mean, I'm a sucker for exclusives. And so I'm going to get it anyway. I'm 90% sure, assuming it's not just impossible to get one. Because I do like having everything. But I'm curious to see how much of it will be, is it just an exclusive machine like my Switch One really was? Because I don't have the portability. I don't have the use case for the portability as much as I would like in my life.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of the same way, where like I get excited that a lot of games, like third party stuff, is coming to Switch, but it's like I have a PlayStation, I have a PC. Like most of the time I would rather just buy those games on one of those two platforms anyway. In the rare case of like remake, like FF7 remake, like I want that on everything. I want it on PC so I can do some mods. I want it on PS5 so I can get it to run really well, because my PC can run it, but like okay at best. And I want it on Switch so I can take it everywhere, which I could just get a Steam Deck, but I don't have a Steam Deck. So
look, dude, I bought the entire Kingdom Hearts collection for like the 5th time on Steam so I could have it on my Steam Deck, and I haven't opened it once. So look, I get it. All right, we're not always the most financially responsible versions of ourselves. No judgment here.
Definitely not.
But
definitely not. I will definitely not be the most financially responsible person for myself. On June 5th, 2025, when I spent a whopping $90 on Street Fighter 6 Amiibo, and
can't even hear those words out loud, bro.
$100 for 3 Amiibo, dude. It's so ridiculous, but I need them. I mean, you see the shelf?
All right, folks, that's it for this episode of the Teardrop Pod. We appreciate y'all tuning in for this extra one. We know there was a lot of nitty gritty to get into, but wanted to give y'all the update on the new hotness, because it's coming, whether we're ready or not. Pre-orders go live April 9th, a week from yesterday, a week from the day the presentation happened. So Godspeed if you're going to try and get one. Here's hoping that process is not as painful as I think it's going to be.
Funny guy.
We'll see. Yeah. All this, skepticism on my part, I'm still going to be there refreshing my page every 2 seconds. So,
yep.
Just a little sheep. But, alrighty. Any last thoughts, Andrew?
No, that's it, man. Good luck to everyone getting your pre-orders, and yeah, thanks for listening. We'll be back, as always.
Yes, we'll be back next week with a normal episode, and we'll, of course, in the coming weeks keep you updated on more Switch 2 news. But for now, we're gonna teardrop out of here.
Boo! This guy stinks.